Let's talk Pine Cove. Okay. So where to start? Summer camp. Let's go back to the summer of 2018. So that's where this started. This is the summer after my sophomore year of college, coming off my first summer of working on a summer camp staff in 2017 at a camp called Word of Life. So now at this point, I've got the summer bug. I've got the summer camp bug specifically. And look, I love the idea of camp ministry. Love it. Absolutely love it. Adore it. I think it's such a unique space for teens, for students, to create memories, lifelong, long-lasting memories, and also hear the gospel in a fun environment, albeit that it's often a sweaty and smelly environment, especially for the boys. Was in June. So I work on a youth leadership staff with a youth group, and in June we took our students to a summer camp, and often those cabins got disgustingly smelly and dirty. So let's get back to the point though. After praying about where to work, and trusting that God was going to point me in the right direction and show me where I needed to be, I ended up getting a camp counselor job with a traveling camp up in Westminster, South Carolina, called Pine Cove. So how it works is they partner with churches around the Southeast for the camp in South Carolina in particular. Their site in South Carolina in particular. They partner with these churches in the Southeast and go around and travel to those churches and put camp on for their students for a week. Now look, I gotta tell you, that summer at Pine Cove, easily, no contest, the most exhausting summer of my life. Easily. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. Just exhausting all around. At the same time, though, it was also the most rewarding summer that I've probably ever had. I think I could say it's definitely been the most rewarding summer that I've ever had. And on top of all that, it's a whole lot of fun. Just as an aside, ton of fun. I mean, the first thing they do, or one of the first things they do during training at the beginning of the summer, is that they give every new camp staff member a camp nickname. Right? So my camp nickname was Hurricane, because I'm a cat guy. That might upset a lot of you. Oh well. I really like cats. They're cool. And dad jokes always get a laugh out of me. I'll get a hearty laugh out of me, probably, if it's a good dad joke. So there was a dad joke that actually created the name, that went into the process of creating the name, but I honestly don't remember what the exact joke was. So here's the best one I could come up with. What do you call a storm of cats? A hurricane. Boom. There's my name. My camp name for that summer. So it took, regarding the summer camp though, regarding my time at Pine Cove, it took half a summer for the entire thing to actually become fulfilling though. Right? It wasn't just like the most rewarding thing I've ever done right out the rip. Actually, the first half of that summer wasn't bad at all. Like, it was fun, it was good, I really enjoyed it. But all it was exhausting. That's all it was. There really wasn't like, oh, I'm fulfilling this like greater purpose yet. You know, I loved being a camp counselor, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was like actually good at it. But I only understood part of the job. Because you see, connecting with the students, right, being a facilitator of fun, that's all the obvious stuff, right? Being loud and exciting, right? That's all the obvious stuff. That's the stuff that, hey, this is in the generic job description, and you know what you're getting. You know what you're signing up for. But the part of the job that I missed is what happened before the campers arrived at camp and what happened after they left. So I'm naturally an introvert. Okay, So people and social situations typically are draining for me. They can exhaust me. They can tire me out. I don't love them. Um, I love people, but talking to people though can be exhausting, and sometimes I just need some me time to kind of recharge. Okay, now, right, I'm an introvert, so now add in 12 weeks of very busy work days, very exhausting work days, and spending just about every waking moment with people I don't know, people I'm traveling with up and down the southeast. If you've ever traveled with friends before, across country, uh, it either goes really well or really poorly. So I don't know these people, and I'm supposed to, for 12 weeks, travel up and down the southeast with them. So for an introvert, like, this is the nightmare. This is the worst of the worst. This is the last worst case scenario. We're there, right? Everybody run for all the introverts run for the hills if they were asked, hey, you want to be a part of this, run for the hills. But I fully trusted that being a camp counselor is what I was supposed to do, and where in Pine Cove was where I was supposed to be. So I just didn't have any intention of quitting or stopping. This is where I had to be. God led me here, and so I'm staying here. I'm toughing this out. But in toughing it out, like, I needed a strategy on how to make this thing work. So now, understanding from my experience the summer prior that once camp's over, unless you intentionally keep up with people, it's probably likely you're never gonna speak or talk to them again, and like that's just kind of how it is. It's not a problem. It's not a bad thing. It's a thing that happens. And also knowing that it's too draining for me. Realizing that it's too draining for me to both be energetic and loud and outgoing for 6 to 7 hours a day with students, during hot hours. It's too draining for me to do that, and then also connect with my coworkers during the off hours, because really there's no off hours. You're kind of you always have to be on. I chose my sort of plan. My idea was to prioritize all my energy and effort on what I was being paid for, right? To do the job I was asked to do well. Connect with the students. All my energy, all my focus went to that. My idea was I was never going to see these people ever again, so it's not like a big deal if I just kind of keep to myself, if I, stay in the back and not, really make, just do my own thing away from everyone else during the off hours. And honestly, like, if I'm being completely honest, it did make me better at my job. But also, and this is what I mentioned earlier, I was dog tired. I was just exhausted. Every day I would empty the tank, and the only thing that I had to refill that tank were like 6 or 7 hours. Well, I guess it's really more like 5 or 6 hours with how long those days were of sleep at night, and whatever quiet time I took from when all the campers leave. And honestly, that just simply, like, that's not enough. With how hard we were working, that's not enough to refill that tank. So I needed something more, and I needed something to change. So midway through the summer, the team director and the counselor supervisors do evaluations on all of the counselors, right? To tell you how good of a job you're doing, how bad of a job you're doing, what you need to improve on. And during my eval, the director told me exactly what I needed to hear to make the right changes. So he said this. He said that that he appreciated how hard I worked at being good at the job, but that I was poor with the other counselors. Noting how standoffish I always was, how I'm 100% on during the camp day, and then once all the campers leave, I'm 100% off. He then said, and this is the piece of advice that changed everything for me. He then said, Don't rob others of the opportunity to bless you or for you to bless them. So after that evaluation, that changed everything for me. That eval, that advice changed everything for me because I stopped looking at the other staff mates as simply coworkers. And then I started looking at them the second half of that summer as brothers and sisters in Christ. Okay, so and there's a difference there, a big gulf of a difference in looking people at as co-workers versus brothers and sisters in Christ. You see, because with co-workers, you just punch a clock in, okay, and do the job, and then leave once the hours are done. But with brothers and sisters in Christ, you do life together, okay? That's what we do as brothers and sisters in Christ. Even if it's just for a short period of time, right? By the time I started looking at them like that, I only had 6 weeks left with them. But those 6 weeks that I did view them with, what I realized, because this is the lesson that I'm so grateful for, and here's the lesson: we don't get off hours being a Christian to people. God doesn't call us to be halfway Christians. God has called us to be so much more, to do so much more than just the job, than just to do the job really well, right? And when this is lived out, when you view people, when you're a Christian and you view others around you as brothers and sisters in Christ, especially definitely when you're working in ministry, when you view them, when you live this out, what you'll find is that yes, the work is still exhausting. That doesn't change. You're still going to get tired. Your body's going to wear out. You're going to sweat. You're going to huff and puff. It's exhausting. But what you'll find is that the joy you receive from doing life together as Christians, it renews you. It gives you new energy. So there's a channel called Grafted. It's a Messianic Jewish people who were reviewing the show called Chosen. If you haven't watched it, it's just about the life of Jesus and the disciples. So the Grafted said something profound that I want to share. So they said that that joy is the fuel of God's kingdom. So I remember mornings where I was at the entrance of some of these churches, all of these churches, right? Because we did this every day. I remember being at the entrance of all these churches, being at the entrance of the parking lot, jumping, cheering, smiling for 45 minutes straight. Like really jumping, not like hopping or like bouncing like on your toes, but you're still like on the floor. Actually jumping like what was it? 2 to 4 phone books high, something like that. Jumping for 45 minutes straight in ungodly heat. This is the middle of the summer in places like Florida, where I live, in Georgia. Savannah heat is real, okay? Alabama, Mississippi, okay? Ungodly heat. While some of the most incredible people that I've ever met screamed, "The joy of the Lord is our strength." And I'll tell you this, the second half of that summer, those words were never more real to me than those 6 weeks. And man, I'm so grateful for having learned that lesson, because it's something that I now take into my everyday. So I work for Uber, okay? I don't get to just stop being a Christian because some of the people in my car aren't Christians. It doesn't mean I have to like shove the Bible down their throat just because they have a 3-minute ride with me. But it means that I still have the opportunity to be a blessing to them. And if that opportunity arises, I need to take it, because that's my job as a Christian. Okay? I'm so grateful for having learned that lesson. And I'm glad that it permeates everything that I do now. So let me ask this question: what moments are you grateful for? Share those stories in the comments. I would love to read them. Okay? I would love to know what you're grateful for. Moments where you learned something awesome, where you were changed. I would love to read those stories. If you're listening to this and you worked at Pine Cove, what was your camp name and how'd you get it? Okay, I want to know. I want to know some cool camp names. Hey guys, this clip was pulled from the weekly Let's Talk Gratitude podcast. If you want to check out the full episode, you can do so by clicking the link in the description. And if you found this content valuable, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to help this channel grow. Thanks for checking it out, and I hope you'll join in the conversation. See ya.